He snuck up to the car and took the bottle of milk while the milkman was gone. Then he ducked to the side and quickly drank the milk and put the empty bottle behind him. When the milkman returned to the car, he pretended to talk to him and put the empty bottle back in one piece when he left. And so every day he could eat breakfast without realizing it, which Keith, who was poor, had to do to earn money. Keith then went to a grocery store where he got a job delivering newspapers. Every day before school, Keith had to go door to door delivering newspapers, and the money he earned was his food for the day. If he had time to spare, he would read the comics in the paper, and that was the happiest part of his day. But when he came to school, Keith was out of luck because he was not a good student and he couldn't answer any of the questions the teacher asked him, and the teacher mocked him in front of the whole class, and the class laughed. But if a student can't read, he should be taught first. Why did he have to be mocked? It was this kind of teacher that caused Keith's low self-esteem to grow. Luckily, he had gotten used to it and didn't mind it too much, but he lived his life with no future in sight. Just like his brother, they were poor, uneducated people who ended up working in the mines in the dark. That Sunday, Keith came to his friend's house to play with him, but his friend's mother told him he couldn't go out until he finished his homework. Keith had no one at home to care about his homework, so he was bored and went to the nearby forest to hang out. It was then that he saw a life-changing image of an abandoned building from which an eagle had emerged, circling in the sky with a female eagle beside it. Keith intuitively decided that the building had an eagle's nest, and then he was even more certain. A passerby who lived in the neighborhood told Keith that there was indeed a nest up there, and that he had often seen eagles returning to the nest with food that they must have been feeding their young. So Keith had a bold idea that he wanted to raise an eagle. So he went to the bookstore and he wanted to borrow some books about eagles. He devoted himself to the study of eagles, and after a day of research, Keith got up early in the morning and got dressed and went outside. All the way out, he was excited about the prospect of getting his own eagle. Finally, Keith arrived at the building, and despite the height of the building, he carefully climbed up the stairs a little at a time, and finally he was able to catch his young. He kept the eagle in a dog cage in the back of the house while he went out to catch some mice or birds and cut them up into little pieces of meat. Following the book, Keith wore gloves and fed the eagle the freshly cute meat. He was trying to show the eagle goodwill so that he could gain his trust. After some familiarization, Keith tied a rope around the eagle's feet and took him outside, where he used the food in his hand to lure the eagle into learning how to fly. If the eagle trusts the human in front of him enough, it won't try to fly away and run away. It will follow his lead. And Keith did just that. Even when he put the eagle far away, it never wanted to run away. And when Keith called its name, it flew back to Keith's side. But having an eagle got him into trouble at school. Translated with Deep L. Calm, free version. The boy caught an eagle pup on a cliff and kept it in a dog cage behind his house, but the eagle got him into trouble at school. He spent all his pocket money on the eagle, so he didn't even have any clothes, and in gym class everyone wore long sleeves and he had to wrap his body in his pants. Then the teacher organized a soccer game and Keith was assigned to be the goalie because it was so cold he had to keep moving and crawling on the goal frame. When the teacher saw him, she got angry and scolded him for not playing goalkeeper. Keith's feet were frozen like ice. His feet were frozen like ice, and his poor conditioning caused him to fail to defend against the other team's attack, and the team lost the game. The gym teacher blamed Keith for the loss and stopped him after class to force him to take a shower. The weather was so cold that he was tortured by the teacher, who intentionally ran the water down. The class teacher also taught him a lesson and asked him why he was sleeping in class, and the reason for his sleep was that the pensioner's hawk was spending too much energy, and he was slapped twice by the class teacher. Even though Keith didn't care much for his teacher's torment and abuse, it made him want to give up, and he decided to sell the eagle. But perhaps it was fate that bound them together, and after a few days, no one wanted his eagle. Keith's teacher, who had recently noticed his strange behavior, asked him what was wrong with him and why he was always so lethargic. Keith didn't want to answer the question, but many in the class knew the truth. The teacher thought it was interesting and a good topic for a story, so he asked Keith to come to the podium and tell the story of his eagle. At first, Keith was a little embarrassed, but he didn't realize that his classmates were listening very attentively. Slowly, Keith became confident. Taming eagles was the only thing Keith knew how to do, and the only thing he was proud of, as he talked about how to feed eagles and how to get them to trust you. Line by line, the students listened with rapt attention. Even those who usually teased him didn't make a sound. They all admired him, and for the first time he was praised by his teacher. As he left the school, Keith's whole body exuded confidence, and the girls on the sidewalk all looked at him twice. But in the eyes of the school bully, how could he be so arrogant? The boy was very aggrieved. He didn't know why some of his classmates and teachers liked to bully him. Maybe they thought he was stupid. The teacher was silent when he heard that. He reassured Keith that he wasn't stupid at all because he could tame the eagle, and that the bad students had to work in the mines when they graduated, while he might be able to make money with the eagle later on. Keith thought it made sense and invited his teacher to come to his house on Sunday to watch the eagle show. Keith thought the future looked bright, and when he got home, He couldn't wait to hunt birds and feed them to the eagles and train them harder. The eagle had no leash, but it didn't try to fly away. There was a special bond between the two. A trusting and understanding bond. The literature teacher who saw the scene was stunned. The teacher told him that the eagle is a very special animal. He is very wild and powerful. No one can tame him, and he chose Keith as his companion. A light appeared in Keith's eyes and he believed that he was a special person, and that's why the eagle chose him. But everything changed that day when Keith came to the casino and his brother gave Keith his paycheck for the day to help him bet on the horses. But Keith, after learning about the situation for a while, decided that he was going to lose the money. And since he was going to lose it, he might as well spend it. He bought some food for himself and some beef for Eagle. But when the horse won, Keith didn't buy any. And his brother came to school and tried to beat him up. So Keith hid in a corner of the school and slept there. His brother couldn't find him. So he did something crazy. Keith woke up and it was time for school to end. But when he got home, he realized that the eagle was gone. And he kept calling out the eagle's name and couldn't find him anywhere. And a bad feeling arose in his heart. He ran home crying, and his brother admitted that he had wanted to let the eagle go, but the eagle kept attacking him. So he killed the eagle. Keith found the body in a garbage can, and in despair he went to the back of the mountain, where he dug a hole and buried the eagle along with his dreams and hopes for the future.